The locker key rain continued to fall over Washington, D.C., washing the streets in silver as the FBI convoy pulled away from Union Station. Inside the lead SUV, no one spoke. Emma Carter sat in silence, staring at the folded street map resting in her lap. The message, hidden in the invisible ink, replayed over and over in her mind. Cole Milan. And then the phone call. If Emma doesn't come to the warehouse alone, Special Agent Ethan Cole dies. Her husband was alive. She knew it. But for the first time, she also realized he wasn't just hiding from criminals. He was hiding from someone inside the FBI. Special Agent Sarah Mitchell sat across from her. "We're changing locations." Emma looked up. "Where are we going?" "A temporary FBI safe house." Emma's eyes narrowed. "Ethan specifically told me not to trust the FBI." Sarah didn't argue. "I know, but until we know who the mole is, I'm the only person responsible for keeping you alive." Emma wanted to believe her. She really did. But Daniel's letter had planted a seed of doubt that refused to disappear. 30 minutes later, the convoy arrived at a quiet residential neighborhood in Georgetown. Unlike the heavily guarded federal buildings Emma expected, the safe house looked completely ordinary. A 2-story brick home. Freshly trimmed hedges. A small American flag hanging beside the porch. Children rode bicycles down the street. Neighbors walked their dogs. It looked like the safest place in the city, which was exactly why the FBI had chosen it. No one would suspect it. Inside, the atmosphere changed immediately. Hidden security cameras covered every hallway. Bullet-resistant windows replaced ordinary glass. A reinforced steel door sealed the basement. Monitors displayed live feeds from every street surrounding the house. Noah Reed locked the front door. "You're safe here." Emma quietly replied, "I thought I was safe in my own home." No one answered. As FBI technicians began searching through the contents of Ethan's backpack, Marcus Hale hurried into the living room carrying a digital tablet. "I finally decrypted the second layer of the USB drive." Everyone gathered around. Instead of documents, a single image appeared. An old brass key. The same key Emma had recovered from the hidden compartment in her living room. Marcus zoomed in. Tiny numbers had been engraved along one edge. A917. Noah frowned. Those weren't visible before. Marcus nodded. "The engraving is microscopic." Sarah immediately recognized the format. Evidence locker numbering. But not FBI. Marcus searched every federal database. Nothing. Then he expanded the search to private storage facilities. After several seconds, one result appeared. Jefferson Self-Storage, located less than 3 miles away. Locker A917. Emma looked at Sarah. "Ethan wanted me to find it." Sarah nodded slowly, which means whatever's inside is important enough to kill for. Before the team could leave, Marcus received another alert from cybercrime. "Sarah, you need to hear this." He connected the disposable phone from Ethan's secret compartment to the speakers. Although the live call had ended, forensic software recovered several seconds of corrupted audio that had been hidden beneath the static. The room became silent. Then, a faint conversation emerged. 2 voices. One belonged to Ethan. The other was unfamiliar. "You're running out of places to hide." A calm male voice, cold, controlled. Ethan answered through heavy breathing. "You'll never find her." The stranger laughed. "I don't need to. She's already walking exactly where I want her." The recording ended. Emma's heartbeat quickened. "He knows about me." Sarah looked toward the tactical team. No delays. "We're going to locker A917. 20 minutes later, an unmarked FBI SUV parked outside Jefferson Self-Storage. The facility appeared deserted. Rows of orange storage doors stretched across the property. Rainwater dripped from the metal roofs. The only sound came from distant thunder. Noah scanned the area. Perimeter looks clear. Sarah wasn't convinced. The Raven Syndicate doesn't make mistakes. She looked at Emma. "Stay behind us." Emma nodded. But deep inside, she couldn't shake the feeling that Ethan hadn't sent her here to be protected. He had sent her here to discover something no one else was supposed to find. The team stopped in front of a faded gray door. A917. Emma removed the brass key from her pocket. Her hands trembled as she inserted it into the lock. The metal clicked. The door slowly rolled upward. The beam of Noah's flashlight swept across the darkness. Everyone expected weapons, money, secret documents. Instead, they found something none of them could explain. In the center of the storage unit sat a beautifully restored vintage baby, grand piano. And resting on the piano bench was a framed wedding photograph of Emma and Daniel. Someone had been here. After Ethan disappeared, the safe house, the photograph on the piano for several seconds. No one moved. The flashlight beam rested on the polished black baby grand piano, standing alone inside the storage unit. Everything else was empty. No boxes, no furniture, no personal belongings. Only the piano. And the framed wedding photograph resting neatly on its bench. Emma stepped forward, unable to believe what she was seeing. It was the same photograph that had hung above the fireplace in her living room. The one taken moments after she and Daniel exchanged their wedding vows. She picked it up carefully. The glass was spotless. Someone had cleaned it recently. Sarah noticed Emma's expression. "What is it?" Emma turned the frame over. "This picture disappeared 6 months ago." Everyone looked at her. "I thought I'd misplaced it." Noah frowned. "You never told Daniel?" "I did. He said he probably packed it away while reorganizing the house." Emma slowly shook her head. "He lied." Marcus carefully examined the piano. "It's not just decoration." He ran his fingers across the polished wood. Dust everywhere. He pointed toward the keyboard. Someone had played the instrument recently. The ivory keys were perfectly clean. Sarah nodded toward Noah. "Check inside." Noah slowly lifted the piano lid. Nothing. He inspected beneath the keyboard. Nothing. Then he pressed one of the pedals. A soft metallic click echoed inside the instrument. Marcus smiled. There it is. The lower panel beneath the keyboard slowly opened. A hidden compartment. Inside rested an old leather journal, a cassette tape, and a silver FBI badge. Emma stared at the badge. It belonged to Ethan. His real name was engraved across the front. Special Agent Ethan Cole badge number 47291. She reached for it with trembling hands. "It's real." Sarah nodded quietly. "Very real." Marcus carefully opened the journal. Every page was filled with handwritten notes, maps, phone numbers, names, dates, and surveillance sketches. The final pages looked different. Instead of investigation notes, they were personal. The first entry read, Day 1. Today I met Emma. She smiled at me without knowing my real name. For the first time since joining this operation, I wished I weren't undercover. Emma covered her mouth. Tears filled her eyes. Marcus continued reading, Day 76. She asked why I never talk about my family. I lied again. Every lie makes leaving harder. Another page, Day 347. I bought an engagement ring today. The bureau told me not to. I ignored them. Sarah looked away. She had never seen Ethan's personal journal before. The final written entry stopped everyone cold. If anything happens to me, tell Emma that marrying her wasn't part of the mission. It was the only decision I ever made for myself. Silence filled the storage unit. Emma closed the journal against her chest, for the first time since learning the truth. She knew one thing with absolute certainty. Ethan had loved her. Every word, every promise, every kiss. None of that had been fake. Suddenly, Noah's radio crackled. "Agent Reed, we've got movement outside." He immediately drew his weapon. Sarah motioned for everyone to stay back. Through the narrow opening of the storage unit, several black SUVs slowly rolled into the parking lot. No government markings. Dark-tinted windows. They stopped without a sound. Car doors opened. 6 armed men stepped out. Each wore black tactical clothing. No insignia, no badges. Only one symbol stitched onto their shoulders. A black raven with its wings spread. Sarah whispered, "The Raven Syndicate." The men walked directly toward locker A917. One of them smiled. They found the piano. The hunt had begun. The safe house escape through the tunnels. "Federal agents," Noah shouted as he stepped in front of the storage unit. "Drop your weapons." Instead of obeying, the leader of the Raven Syndicate calmly applauded. Slow. Deliberate. "You finally found Agent Cole's little insurance policy." His voice echoed to the storage yard. Sarah immediately recognized him. Victor Kane. The man smiled. "I was wondering how long it would take." Emma looked at Sarah. "You know him? He disappeared 5 years ago." Victor laughed. So did Ethan. Without warning, gunfire erupted. Bullets shattered the storage unit doors. Noah grabbed Emma and pulled her behind the piano. Sarah returned fire from behind a concrete pillar. The quiet storage facility exploded into chaos. Marcus crouched beside the hidden compartment. "We can't leave this journal," Sarah shouted back. "Take everything." Marcus stuffed the journal, cassette tape, and Ethan's badge into his backpack. Outside, more Raven Syndicate vehicles arrived. Their escape route was disappearing. Noah noticed a rusted maintenance hatch beneath the piano platform. He pulled it open. A narrow underground utility tunnel stretched into darkness. "This way." Emma hesitated. "What about the others?" Sarah fired 2 more rounds before retreating. "They'll follow." One by one, they climbed into the tunnel. Marcus pulled the hatch closed behind them. Moments later, the storage unit filled with armed syndicate members. Victor Kane walked slowly toward the piano. He smiled. "They're learning." One of his men approached. "Should we chase them?" Victor shook his head. "No." He gently ran his fingers across the piano keys. "They're following the path Ethan wanted." He pressed a single note. A hidden speaker activated inside the piano. Ethan's recorded voice echoed through the empty storage unit. "If you're hearing this..." "Gee, you're already 1 step behind." Victor smiled. "Still playing games." He looked toward the tunnel entrance. "Run while you can. Every road leads back to me." The tunnel beneath the storage facility was dark and damp. Emergency lights flickered overhead. Emma struggled to keep pace. Her breathing echoed through the narrow concrete passage. Noah checked the map Ethan had hidden in the backpack. There should be an exit near the old canal. Marcus suddenly stopped. "Wait." He pointed his flashlight toward a faded symbol painted on the wall. A small black raven. Beside it, someone had drawn another symbol, an eagle. Sarah stared at it. "That's Ethan's mark." Emma looked confused. "He left signs?" Sarah nodded. "He used them during undercover operations. The eagle means safe route." They followed the eagle symbols through the maze of tunnels. Finally, a steel ladder led to a storm drain opening beside the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal. Fresh air rushed in. One by one, they climbed out into the fading evening light. They had escaped, but only barely. Back inside the abandoned storage facility, Victor Kane picked up Emma's wedding photograph from the piano bench. He stared at it for a long moment, then handed it to one of his men. "Leave it." The man looked confused. "Why?" Victor smiled. "Because Ethan will come back for it." He turned toward the black SUVs. And when he does, we'll finally finish what we started. Miles away. In a dimly lit warehouse somewhere outside Washington, Ethan Cole sat chained to a steel chair. Blood trickled from a cut above his eye. A guard entered the room carrying a tablet. He placed it in front of Ethan. On the screen, security camera footage showed Emma escaping through the underground tunnel. A faint smile crossed Ethan's face. "She's alive," the guard noticed. "So that's what makes you smile." Ethan looked up. "You'll never understand." The guard leaned closer. "No, but Victor Kane will." The heavy steel door opened. Victor himself stepped into the room. He looked directly at Ethan. "Your wife is becoming much more interesting than you ever were." Ethan's smile disappeared. Victor pulled up a chair and sat directly across from him. "I think it's time. She learned why you really married her." FBI secrets. Cold rain swept across the streets of Washington, D.C., as an unmarked FBI SUV raced through the city. Inside, no one spoke. Emma Carter sat quietly in the back seat, clutching Ethan's leather journal against her chest. Every page she had read revealed a man she had never truly known. He wasn't just Daniel Brooks. He wasn't just Ethan Cole. He was someone who had sacrificed his identity for a mission that now threatened everyone he loved. Across from her, Special Agent Sarah Mitchell watched the traffic through the rain-soaked window. "The storage unit wasn't random," she finally said. "It was one of Ethan's emergency dead drops." Emma looked up. "So he planned all of this?" Sarah nodded. Ethan always planned 3 moves ahead. Noah Reed, driving the SUV, glanced into the rearview mirror. "Then why did he leave the journal?" Sarah answered quietly. "Because he knew someone would eventually come after Emma. And he wanted her to know the truth." 30 minutes later, the convoy entered a heavily secured FBI facility in Arlington, Virginia. Unlike the previous safe house, this location looked like an ordinary government office building from the outside. Inside, it was a fortress, steel security doors, biometric scanners, armed tactical agents at every entrance. No civilian could enter without multiple levels of clearance. Emma noticed everyone staring at her as she walked through the corridors. Some recognized her. Others whispered. The wife of Agent Ethan Cole had become the center of the Bureau's largest investigation. Sarah led Emma into a secure conference room. Only 4 people were present: Sarah Mitchell, Noah Reed, Marcus Hale, and FBI Director James Holloway. The director stood as Emma entered. "I'm sorry we couldn't meet under better circumstances." Emma didn't sit down. "I have one question." The director nodded. "Ask." She placed Ethan's journal on the table. "Who was my husband?" The room fell silent. Finally, Director Holloway opened a thick classified file. Across the front was stamped in bold red letters: Top, Secret, Special, a CCE, a CCEEEE, a CCEEESS. Required. He slowly pushed the file toward Emma. Everything you knew about Daniel Brooks was a cover identity. Emma opened the file. Inside were photographs dating back nearly 10 years. Ethan graduating from the FBI Academy. Ethan receiving a medal for bravery. Ethan standing beside elite hostage rescue team operators. Ethan undercover in different cities, wearing different disguises, different names, different lives. Only one face remained the same: the man she loved. Sarah walked toward a digital display mounted on the wall. A map of the eastern United States appeared. Red markers stretched from New York to Miami. Marcus spoke first. 5 years ago, Ethan volunteered to infiltrate an organization known as the Raven Syndicate. The Bureau believed it was a regional crime network. Sarah tapped another button. The map expanded. Additional red markers appeared across Europe, South America, and Asia. We were wrong. The room became quiet. Marcus continued. The Raven Syndicate isn't just an American criminal organization. It's a global network, money laundering, political corruption, cybercrime, arms trafficking, corporate espionage, and contract assassinations. Emma looked at the screen in disbelief. Ethan was investigating all of that. Alone? Sarah nodded. He spent years earning Victor Kane's trust. He became so deeply embedded that even many FBI agents believed he'd gone rogue. Emma slowly looked down. So, every business trip, every late-night phone call. Sarah answered softly. Part of the mission. Sarah answered. Marcus inserted Ethan's recovered cassette tape into a digital audio player. It wasn't music. It was encrypted. Static filled the room. Then a calm male voice emerged. It was Ethan. If you're listening to this, I've probably been captured. Everyone listened in complete silence. Victor Kane doesn't know I've been documenting everything. There's one file the Bureau doesn't know exists. Marcus paused the recording. What file? The audio continued. Project Black Raven. Sarah's expression changed instantly. No. Director Holloway slowly stood from his chair. What is Project Black Raven? Sarah looked at him in surprise. You've never heard of it? The director shook his head. Marcus replayed the recording. Ethan's voice became weaker. If Victor obtains Black Raven, the FBI won't be the only agency that falls. Emma looked around the room. What is Black Raven? No one answered. Because no one in the room knew, except one person, hidden behind the one-way observation glass outside the conference room. A senior FBI official quietly closed his notebook. He smiled, then walked away before anyone noticed he had been listening. The mole had just learned that Ethan Cole's greatest secret was still missing. Project Black Raven. The conference room fell into complete silence. No one moved. No one spoke. Only the sound of Ethan's recorded voice echoed through the speakers. Marcus replayed the final sentence. If Victor obtains Project Black Raven, the FBI won't be the only agency that falls. The recording ended. Emma looked around the room. So, what is Project Black Raven? Director Holloway slowly removed his glasses. I've served in the Bureau for 32 years. I've never heard that name. Sarah's expression told a different story. She wasn't confused. She was frightened. No one noticed immediately. Sarah, you know something? She hesitated, then nodded. I've heard the name once. 8 years ago. Sarah stood and walked toward the digital display. She entered her highest security clearance. ACCESS denied, she tried again. File does not exist. Marcus frowned. Someone deleted it. Sarah shook her head. No. It was never deleted. It was hidden. Director Holloway folded his arms. From me? Sarah nodded. If Ethan was telling the truth, Project Black Raven exists outside normal FBI authority. Emma stared at the screen. Meaning someone powerful has been protecting it. Marcus suddenly interrupted. I've recovered another encrypted file. Everyone gathered around his workstation. A grainy surveillance photograph appeared. Emma immediately recognized the location. The cafe. It was our favorite place. The timestamp read 4 months earlier. The image showed Emma and Ethan sitting together outside the cafe, laughing, holding hands. Perfectly ordinary. Marcus zoomed out. Across the street, a man sat inside a parked black sedan, watching them through a camera lens. Another image appeared. 1 month later, Emma and Ethan grocery shopping. Again, the same black sedan, the same man. Another photograph. Their anniversary dinner, the same watcher. Dozens of photographs followed. Every holiday, every vacation, every walk through the neighborhood. Someone had been watching them. For over a year. Emma covered her mouth. Oh my God, they were watching us before Daniel disappeared. Sarah nodded. No. They were watching you before you were even married. Marcus opened the final image. This one looked different. It had been taken only 3 nights earlier. Ethan stood alone beneath a streetlight. He wasn't aware he was being photographed. Standing across the street was another man. Tall, gray suit, silver hair, his face partially visible. Sarah leaned closer, then froze. No! Emma looked at her. What? Sarah whispered. I know him. Director Holloway stepped beside her. The room went silent. The man in the photograph worked inside FBI headquarters. He wasn't just an agent, he was Assistant Director Richard Lawson, one of the Bureau's highest-ranking officials, before anyone could react. Every computer screen inside the conference room suddenly turned black. The lights flickered. Marcus looked confused. I'm losing the servers. Then, words slowly appeared across every monitor. Stop. Digging. The message vanished. Another appeared. You're already too late. Suddenly, every classified file they had recovered from Ethan's USB drive began deleting itself. Marcus shouted, No! His fingers raced across the keyboard. It's a remote wipe. Sarah immediately pulled the network cable from the workstation. Too late. One by one, every encrypted file disappeared, until only one remained. A single video file. Untitled. Marcus clicked it. The screen filled with static. Then Ethan appeared. His face was bruised. One eye swollen shut. He looked directly into the camera. If you're seeing this, he knows who you are. The video abruptly ended. No explanation, no names, only silence. Emma stared at the frozen screen. He wasn't talking to me. Sarah slowly nodded. No. He was talking to the mole. At that exact moment. Inside FBI headquarters. WH Chapter Richard Lawson calmly closed his office door. He unlocked a hidden drawer beneath his desk. Inside rested a secure satellite phone. It rang once. He answered. A familiar voice spoke from the other end. Victor Kane. They've discovered your photograph. Lawson smiled. I expected they would. Victor asked, What now? Lawson looked out across Washington, D.C. Now. We let Emma lead us to Project Black Raven. The mole night had fallen over Washington. Rain lashed against the reinforced windows of the FBI safe house. Inside the conference room, no one had spoken for nearly 5 minutes. Emma replayed Ethan's final message in her mind. He knows who you are. The words felt personal, like a warning. Sarah broke the silence. We can't stay here. Director Holloway nodded. If Lawson is involved, every location registered in the FBI system is compromised. Noah looked shocked. You're saying an assistant director is working for the Raven Syndicate? Holloway answered quietly. I'm saying we don't know who we can trust anymore. Marcus suddenly stood up. Wait, I recovered something before the files were erased. He connected a portable hard drive. Only one document had survived, a list of coordinates. No names, no descriptions, just latitude and longitude. Emma stared at the numbers. I've seen those before. Everyone looked at her. She reached into Ethan's leather journal. Between 2 pages, she found a folded receipt from a roadside diner. On the back, the exact same coordinates were written in Ethan's handwriting. Sarah compared them. They're identical. Marcus entered the location into an offline mapping system. The result appeared. Shenandoah National Forest, Virginia. No roads, no towns, only dense forest. Noah frowned. What's out there? Marcus zoomed in. One abandoned structure appeared. a decommissioned Cold War communications bunker. Sarah looked at Emma. I think Ethan left us another breadcrumb. Before they could make a plan, the emergency alarm sounded. Intruder, alert. Red lights flashed throughout the building. An agent burst into the room. Director. Someone breached the outer security fence. How many? We don't know. The cameras are offline. Sarah immediately drew her pistol. Take Emma to the panic room. Noah escorted Emma into a reinforced corridor. As the steel security door began closing, Emma looked back. Sarah and the tactical team disappeared into the smoke-filled hallway. Gunfire echoed through the building. Short bursts. Then silence. Another burst. Closer this time. The lights flickered. The emergency backup failed. Darkness swallowed the corridor. Suddenly, a calm voice echoed through the building's public address system. Good evening. Emma froze. She recognized the voice. Victor Kane. I've spent 5 years chasing one man, and tonight his wife will finally tell me where he hid Project Black Raven. The speakers went silent. Then, one gunshot echoed through the building. Noah immediately turned toward Emma. We're leaving. But Sarah, she knows her job. He grabbed the emergency escape key. The panic room door opened into an underground service tunnel as they disappeared into the darkness. Neither of them noticed the tiny blinking light attached beneath the rear bumper of their SUV. A GPS tracker. Someone had placed it there hours earlier. Far above them. Tridal. Victor Kane stood in the shadows of a rooftop overlooking the safe house. Beside him stood Assistant Director Richard Lawson, watching the FBI agents evacuate. Lawson smiled. They're heading exactly where Ethan wanted. Victor smiled back. And exactly where I wanted. Miles away, inside a hidden warehouse, Ethan Cole sat chained to the steel chair. A television showed live drone footage of the escaping convoy. He closed his eyes. They found the coordinates. One of Victor's guards laughed. Yes. They did. Ethan looked toward the screen one last time. I'm sorry, Emma, because the truth waiting in that bunker will destroy everything you believe about me.